Good evening, and thank you so much for attending this University of Texas at Austin Paralegal Certificate Program Information Session Webinar. That's a mouthful. My name is Stephanie Plowman, and I am the Program Advisor for the UT Paralegal Program. With me this evening is Vina Hoser from University of Texas, and she is the Program Coordinator. And together we are going to tell you anything and everything you ever wanted to know about the UT Paralegal Program. Now, before we get started, just some housekeeping matters. This system is incredibly sensitive, so everybody is on mute right now. I've spent a lot of webinars listening to dogs bark in the background and such, so unfortunately because of that, everyone is on mute. However, you can type any questions that you may have into a question box that you should see on your screen in the GoToWebinar panel. When you type in those questions, they will pop up on my screen, and either Vina or I will read them out loud and handle those for you. Certainly, if any questions come up during the course of the webinar, please feel free to type them in then. I will then go ahead during a reasonable pause in the presentation to read out that question, and we will answer it for you. And of course, at the end of the session, we will take any and all questions you may have. So let's get started. All right, now what we're going to do a little bit tonight is first we're going to talk about the paralegal profession in general and the outlook for the paralegal profession, and then we're going to get into the specifics of the UT program. So as far as the profession in general goes, here we go. The U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics estimates that between 2012 and 2022, the paralegal profession is projected to grow by about 17%. And this is actually a fairly good rate of growth given everything that's been going on in the economy over the past, 6, 7, 8 years. Now, back in 2009, when the economy really started to collapse, law firms found that they were no longer able to keep up with the salaries of their young associates and attorneys. So unfortunately for them, they found themselves without jobs. Unfortunately, though, the work was still there, and someone at the firms had to do it. So bring in the paralegals. The law firms found that paralegals were able to perform essentially the same tasks as attorneys, but for, of course, advising clients and going to court, and were certainly more cost-effective than some of those high-priced law associates that you may have heard about. Now, also, there are certain, as I like to call them, niche areas of law where paralegals are uniquely situated to have a lot of autonomy and a lot of responsibility. Now, in addition to working in the paralegal program, I am also a practicing attorney, and while my specialty is federal criminal defense, I work for a solo practitioner, and sometimes when you work for a solo, you get to do a little bit of everything. So over the years, I have gotten several calls. My sister wants to sell her house, she wants to buy a house, handle the closing, etc. And in particular, I remember one closing where the seller's attorney pretty much was in the background the entire time. Every communication I had about that transaction, and I got the transaction after the contract had already been negotiated, so just dealing with the details of mortgages and the closing and adjustments and such. All of the details of that closing and that transaction were handled between myself and the paralegal. And she was absolutely spectacular. She answered every single one of my questions because, of course, it's not my area of expertise. And she was absolutely wonderful. I was so incredibly impressed by her, her knowledge, her professionalism, and just the amount of responsibility that the attorney she worked for gave her. At the closing itself, she handled the entire proceeding from beginning to end, and I didn't even meet the attorney, so he didn't even come in to say hi. So areas of law like that, real estate, that can be very form-heavy, detail-oriented. Paralegals can get a lot of great responsibility and autonomy. Areas of the law which can be a little bit form-heavy, intellectual property, immigration law. Immigration law, of course, is such a hot area these days, especially if you're ready, willing, and able to keep up with the ever-changing laws. And then just getting back to the economy, which is, of course, better than it was. Some areas of law which are hot in times like this, and in poor economy times, matrimonial law, sometimes going, or family law, sometimes going hand in hand with that, bankruptcy law. So there are a lot of great areas of law where, as the slide says, experienced and formally trained paralegals have wonderful job prospects and can jump right in and get a great experience. Okay. As far as the top 200 jobs, lots of job satisfaction when it comes to being a paralegal. Paralegal assistant is number 35 on the list of top 200 jobs. So it's great to not only have job prospects, but to have great job satisfaction once you get into that position. And U.S. News and World Report estimates or ranks paralegal as one of the top 50 best jobs in America, number 19 to be exact. Now, one of the questions I'm always asked when I do one of these information sessions is not only will I get a job once I've completed the program, and we'll talk a little bit about what the University of Texas at Austin does to assist you in getting out there and into the legal community and finding a job, but how much am I going to make when I get that job? Now, again, U.S. News and World Report estimates that the median salary for a paralegal is just under $50,000, and then the top 10% of paralegals make just under $80,000 or so. So that's not that bad. It's nice to get one of those $80,000 jobs for sure. But the salary will depend upon what kind of firm you go to. If you're going to a smaller solo practitioner or boutique law firm, certainly there's not going to be as much money in the coffers as if you're going to a larger firm, or I always like to give the example, a large Wall Street type firm. So it does depend ultimately on where you go. Compared against other jobs out there, paralegal right there in the middle, not too bad. Again, right under $50,000, and just under patrol officer. So it really is a very good starting salary once you get out there and get right into the profession as compared against other starting salaries in other professions. Okay, let's talk about the University of Texas program. Now, this is, and we're going to talk about both our ground program and our online program. We have some slides towards the end about the online program, so I'm going to focus at the outset on the schedule for the ground program. But this is a 4-month intensive paralegal program, which is comprised of 2 core components. The first one is essential skills for paralegals. Now, in essential skills, you will essentially learn about the law, legal terminology, legal research, legal writing, courthouse structure. On the first day you walk into class, you are assigned a hypothetical client and fact pattern, and you will work that client and fact pattern the whole way through as you are submitting your assignments for essential skills. So you'll start off with easier writing assignments such as a demand letter, an interoffice memo, and then work your way up to summons and complaint, discovery demands, and then end the semester with a bang with a summary judgment motion. At the end of the semester, you will put all of your assignments into your client file folder for your instructor to review, also known as your writing sample for prospective employers. So you can show them not only do you know what all of these documents are and how they are used in the litigation process, but here are the documents that you yourself have prepared. Now, in addition to essential skills, and essentials runs the duration of the program. So for the ground program, you will take essential skills every Tuesday night for the entire 4 months. The online program also offers, of course, essential skills. That's the core of the program. And you will complete essential skills in the online program before you move on to your next step, the substantive classes. Now, for the ground program, in addition to essentials, you will also take 3 substantive classes, so for 4 weeks each. So on Thursday nights, you would have 4 weeks of tort law. 4 weeks of Texas procedures, and then 4 weeks of contract law. For each one of those courses, you will submit one short writing assignment and also take an exam. And as we get into things a little bit more, we'll also talk about grading structure and things like that. At the end of the semester, once you have successfully completed the program, you will have your beautiful framed certificate, and we'll talk about that too, from University of Texas at Austin. Now, all of your instructors, and you'll have a different instructor for each one of your 4 courses, essentials and the 3 substantives, all of your instructors are practicing attorneys in the Austin area. They are all in the classroom for the sheer joy of teaching. They love sharing their knowledge with you, and they're all experts in their field. So your tort law instructor will work for a firm that specializes in tort law, medical malpractice, defense, insurance defense, personal injury. So you are being taught by people who are literally in the trenches every single day practicing the area of law that they are teaching you. Now, in addition to the in-class component, and we've been staring at this slide for a little while now, and I see that there's a question. I'm not ignoring you. I'm just looking for a good segue into your question. In addition to the in-class component of the program, we also have an amazing website, paralegalspace.com, that has wonderful resources to assist you as you are working through the materials in the program. Now, we do require you to log a certain amount of time on Paralegal Space each semester, and that's because we have wonderful study support for each one of your classes. Learning the law can be like learning a foreign language, and it's not just because there's a lot of Latin involved. It's a different way of thinking. It's a different way of speaking. It's a different way of looking at and analyzing problems. And in order to become comfortable with that, practice makes perfect. Also, to just spout another maxim at you, you get out of the program what you put into it. So the more you work through the resources available to you on Paralegal Space, the easier the material will seem to you, will come to you, and the more comfortable you will be with the material. Now, taking the paralegal program, quite frankly, can almost be like taking your first year in law school, and that's a good segue into the question I just received. Is it true that it's much easier to get into law school and become an attorney once you have a paralegal certification and that experience? Certainly, as far as getting into law school, I mean, certainly it depends upon the the qualifications that you have going into the application process. And unfortunately, for better or for worse, law schools do rely fairly heavily on the LSAT. However, just in taking the program and learning how to analyze legal issues, you should do fairly well on the logic portion of that exam. But as far as being in law school, as I just mentioned, the program is really like the first year of law school in a very condensed period of time. I wish I had taken a paralegal program before I went to law school, because I could have slept through that first year. I wouldn't recommend that you do that, but you are going to cover the same concepts in the paralegal program that you would cover in a first-year torts class and a first-year contracts class. So if you were to take the paralegal program as a springboard for law school, you would certainly be ahead of the curve as far as the materials are concerned. And so you will find that your first year of law school, which is of course known notoriously as the hardest year, you will definitely be ahead of the curve as far as that material is concerned. Now, as far as Paralegal Space is concerned, as I mentioned, we have amazing resources for you on the site. It's also a communications portal among instructors, administrators, and students. So we'll post announcements for you. Your contract law exam is now available. Here are the PowerPoints that we're going to take a look at in class on Monday night. We have a classroom change, things like that. We also have a chat room where students can chat with each other. I often see that students are setting up study groups right away, talking about the law, talking about the assignments, what you're learning. Your instructors will often go into that chat room and say, I'm going to be in there on Monday night between 8 and 9. If anyone has any questions, come on in and let me know. But it is really a great way to foster a sense of community within the classroom, and to foster that we're all in this together kind of feeling. Now you can see right here We have resources posted for you, and this isn't the main area of study support on the site. We're going to get to that for you in a minute, but the resources tab over here, you can see a series of tabs. The resources area of the site is an area where we will post additional materials for you, which either your instructors or the administrators feel will assist you as you are working through your reading and the study support. And we're constantly adding to that over the course of the semester. But this is the actual area of support where you'll find support for essential skills and your substantive classes, torts, and contracts. Now, we don't have the same structured study support for Texas procedures as we do for the other classes. Texas procedures is the one class that's developed solely by each one of the Texas procedures instructors. So those instructors will post additional resources for you, whether in that resources tab or as an announcement to assist you with those materials. But this Paralegal Study Support tab is where you will find study support to track every single chapter in your Essential Skills books, as well as torts and contracts, in addition to 3 other labs, which we are going to talk about tonight. So what we recommend you do is read the materials prior to coming to class, come to class and listen to and participate in the lectures, and then work through the corresponding study support. It builds upon what you're learning in class. It enhances those concepts. There are mock exams, practice quizzes. Again, just great practice to, again, practice makes perfect. I can't say that enough. But just really assist you in becoming comfortable and familiar with the various terms and concepts that you are learning in class. Now, this is the Essential Skills study support. So Essential Skills is broken down into convenient and easy to manage segments, so you're not kind of jumping around or doing a little bit of everything at once. You'll focus on one segment at a time. And once you're ready to work through the study support, you will essentially click into whichever segment you are working on. And you can see right here in the middle under Getting Started, you'll get a sense of what you're going to learn in that particular segment, any assignments that you may have, and just all sorts of little extras for you to work through. Over on the right-hand side here, you can see that there are links under each chapter, and this is your study support right here. So basically, once you've read Chapter 1, you'll come into this Chapter 1 study support and click on each link and work through the corresponding support. Now, we like to mix it up. We don't want it to be the same every single time, so you'll have some lecture notes that you'll read about what you're learning about and what you're working through. Paralegal perspective, you know, sometimes you'll learn about something in the book, but there may be a twist to it in practice, so we want to let you know what the differences may be between the book and reality, and what to keep your eyes open for. There are interactive demonstrations, legal cartoons, legal jokes, all sorts of things. Again, we like to keep it interesting so you're not doing the same thing every single time. You can also keep track of where you've been within the study support. So if you have worked through support, these little dots next to each chapter section will be green. If you have not, they will be red. So whoever was working through the support didn't get a lot done right here. But this is a way for you to ensure that you're utilizing all of the resources available to you and you're not missing any important content. We also have tons of mock exams, probably more mock exams and quizzes than you'd ever want to take, but they are all incredibly helpful in assisting you in testing yourself on the material, pinpointing any areas where you may need more assistance. They're a great review, especially before any in-class exams that you may have, and you get immediate feedback. So as you are taking your quizzes and mock exams on Paralegal Space, as soon as you submit your answers, you will get your results, the answers to all of the questions, and why the correct answer is in fact the correct answer. So those are all very helpful, and there are lots of them. Okay, now in addition to that support that tracks essential skills and the 2 substantive classes, as I mentioned earlier, we have 3 additional labs to assist you as you are working through all the materials. The first one is the Legal Research Lab under our Labs on Demand, and part of the Legal Research Lab is something we like to call the Law Library Lab. Now, this isn't an area of the site where you can search for legal research and authorities and such as you would in an actual brick and mortar law library or on the 2 main legal databases, Westlaw and Lexis, which we'll talk about shortly. But this is an area of the site where you can familiarize yourself with the types of materials you would find on Westlaw and Lexis or in a law library, so you can become comfortable as you are getting into the legal writing and research sections in Essential Skills. So basically how the law library works is you'll click on whatever book you would like to take a look at in the stacks, and then the book will open up. So you can see what it looks like on the inside. You can see the index, the table of contents, the glossary, whatever is in there. And over here on the right-hand side, you can learn everything you ever wanted to know about these particular materials and then some. This is helpful in determining how these various materials will be used in your legal research and writing, how to be an efficient researcher in getting right into those materials and knowing where to look and knowing where to find what you need to find. Being an efficient researcher is a very important quality for a paralegal to have, and it's one that law firms and attorneys look for in hiring their paralegals. Certainly if you're extra efficient on Westlaw and Lexis, that is very helpful to your attorney, but it's also very cost effective to your attorney, and we'll talk about that in a minute too. Also in the law library, you'll get a sense of how the various materials are updated, and also again the best way to work through them to find what you need to find and to find it quickly. Now, as far as online legal research is concerned, I think this is everyone's favorite part of the program, Westlaw and Lexis. You do receive access to both of these legal databases. Westlaw and Lexis are the 2 main legal databases that attorneys and law firms use to research and pull up case law and statutes and everything that you need for your legal writing. Now, you will have access to both during the course of the program. For Westlaw, the ground students will have access to Westlaw for the duration of the program, and Lexis, you will have access for 1 year from your start date. Now, that's also very nice to be able to have in general, because you can continue researching after the program is over, but it's also something nice to say to a prospective employer, you still have Lexis access, because Westlaw and Lexis in practice are incredibly expensive. And you learn both of them because law firms tend to have only one or the other because of the cost factor. Also because of the cost factor, when you are researching in practice, you want to be, again, that efficient researcher, because you want to get on Westlaw or Lexis, enter search terms which are going to pull up cases and statutes and articles that are going to be helpful to your attorney and your client, and get off Westlaw or Lexis as quickly as possible. In practice, as the clock is ticking on either database, the dollar signs are going up, and that, of course, is all handed over to your client. So clients, of course, like to keep costs down, and so being an efficient researcher is a great way to do that. Now, of course, in the program, you can stay logged onto Westlaw and Lexis for as long as you want. As the clock is ticking, the dollar signs aren't going up for you. So this really is a wonderful opportunity for you to get comfortable on both of those databases and click around and see what works and see what doesn't work, and see the best way to get what you need for your legal writing. Now, for instance, if you were researching for a car accident case and you entered into Westlaw or Lexis, automobile accident, negligence, injuries, both of those databases would come back to you and either say, here are 1 million and counting cases for you to take a look at, or there are just too many cases for us to pull up right now. You're going to have to start over. So this is your opportunity to figure out what works, figure out what doesn't, and just figure out the best way to research. Now, Westlaw and Lexis did just update both of their databases probably about a year and a half ago or so. So Westlaw, actually, they changed their name to Westlaw Next, and then once they got rid of classic Westlaw, they just went back to Westlaw. So I guess Westlaw is just Westlaw again these days. But it definitely is a more streamlined version of the initial classic Westlaw that, that was offered. Lexis at the same time upgraded to Lexis Advance, same idea, same streamlined database. But you will also have access, because they still have it around, to classic Lexis in addition to the updated database. Now, for both of them, they are substantially similar, and they're more akin these days to a Google search, a little more complicated than that, of course, but definitely more akin to a Google search than the classic versions of both databases used to be. But you have access to and you learn both of them because you don't know what you're going to get in practice. And so you want to be comfortable on both of them so you can just get right out there and start researching. Now, also on both Westlaw and Lexis, and God, we've been looking at this slide for a while, so let's look at the next one, which looks the same, but also on Westlaw and Lexis, when they updated their databases, they included some wonderful training and tutorials and little webinars and videos and such that we encourage students to work through, again, to become comfortable and familiar with both sites so you can be an efficient researcher. All right, a lot about research there. Okay, so in addition to the legal research labs that we also have a legal writing lab. You will have access, of course, to the Texas templates, and there will be templates for every document that you will prepare for your essential skills class. Now, there's no reinventing the wheel in the law. I can probably count on one hand, and I've been practicing for 15 years, I can count on one hand the number of documents I've started completely from scratch. Now, if I had an automobile accident case come into my office and I had already drafted a summons and complaint for an automobile accident case 6 months ago, I'm not going to start from scratch on the new case. I'm going to pull that old complaint, I'm going to take out the old facts, I'm going to put in a new one, and I'm going to have a nice draft ready for filing. So with that in mind, we have templates for you for each one of the documents you will prepare in Essentials. So basically what you'll do is you'll come into the Interactive Writing Lab, you'll click here at the top of the page for whatever document you are ready to prepare, and then over here on the right hand side you can click in the first drop down box, choose your document, and listen to a little audio lecture on that particular document. And then underneath here you can get a step-by-step guide into the various components you need to include in your document. In addition, we have additional documents posted under resources for you, additional templates, and your instructors will also post, kind of quote-unquote real-life templates, real-life file documents for you to take a look at and work off of. And then finally, we have a wonderful citations lab, interactive, where you can practice both reading and writing state and federal citations. Now, a citation is a series of letters and numbers that you'll see after a case name. And in looking at a citation, you know right away what court decided this case, when was it decided. You can determine whether it's primary authority or secondary authority for your writing. And then from the reader's perspective also, and certainly when you're submitting a motion or a brief to the court, you want to ensure that your citations are spot on, because if a judge wants to read a case that you've cited in your motion and you've included the wrong citation, the judge isn't going to do your homework for you. The judge just isn't going to read the case and could quite possibly rule against you or your client. If he decides, forget it, this case didn't mean anything, that case could have meant everything. It could have meant a win for your client. So you do want to make sure, both from your own perspective as far as what cases you are going to cite and rely upon, that you know how to read a citation to know whether it's a case you should be using, and also how to write citations so your reader is able to pull those cases as well. Okay, and we also have support, whatever support you may need. We're always here for you. If you have technical support, technical problems, we will answer those questions for you. If you have materials problems, any kind of issue that you may have, either working through the site, navigating the site, whatever you may need, there is always someone to assist you and walk you through that. Sometimes it takes a couple emails back and forth to get things set up and squared away. Sometimes it does take a little bit of maybe adjusting on the student's end as far as computer settings are concerned, but we're always available to answer any and all questions that you may have. And then after graduation, we still support you. University of Texas does not offer career placement, but there are several things that we do to assist you as you get out there into the job market. Now, number one, we do have a graduate site on Paralegal Space, so upon successfully completing the program, we will move you over to that graduate site, which is essentially the same as the site you will use during the semester, except there won't be any exams or assignments or anything due. And that's one thing I should mention and neglected to mention is that all of your exams and assignments are done online on Paralegal Space as well. So an assignment will be posted on the site. You will submit your assignment, and then your instructor will grade it on the site. All of your exams are also done on Paralegal Space. There's no in-class exams or anything like that. So with that in mind, it is important that you do have a computer that you're comfortable with and isn't going to crash every 5 minutes and you want to throw out the window. So the graduate site is essentially the same as the site you will use over the course of the semester, except without those pesky exams and assignments that you will probably be very happy to put behind you. But all of the same support is available to you. You'll have access to our forms database, the templates, everything that you may need as you're getting out into the profession and would like to rely upon will be available on this graduate site. Now, as I mentioned, University of Texas does not offer career placement. However, we are constantly, I feel like I'm posting a job announcement almost every day, but we are constantly getting job postings from attorneys in the Austin area, specifically looking for University of Texas at Austin paralegal. As those job postings come into us, we will post them on the graduate site. We'll also post them on the online sites, and if the semester is ongoing, we'll post them on that sites as well, those sites as well, so you can apply for those positions. And I would have to say the Austin legal community is absolutely wonderful and so supportive of the University of Texas at Austin paralegal program. It really is true. I don't live in Texas, so maybe I can say this, I don't know, but it really is true what they say about Texas. Everything is bigger and better there, and we just have had a wonderful outpouring of support from the legal community, really wanting to hire University of Texas at Austin paralegals. So as I said, I really don't exaggerate when I say I feel as if I'm posting job postings every day. I really kind of am. In addition, we do have a segment in Essential Skills on job strategies. So your Essential Skills instructor will discuss with you how do you fashion a cover letter for a legal position? How should you rework your resume? Especially if you don't have legal experience. A lot of people get frustrated with that. Well, I don't have experience. What do I focus on to try to get an attorney or a law firm's attention? And I was doing a live a live info session one time where a participant came up to me looking very dejected, and he told me that he had no legal experience and he was really concerned about his prospects. So I asked him what he did, and he told me he was a paramedic. And so of course I started cross-examining him. So I asked him, well, are you able to multitask? Can you jump real quickly from one task to another? Yes. Are you good with people? Yes. I'm like, well, these are qualities and attributes that attorneys and law firms look for. So really, if you don't have legal experience, and this always comes out sounding so negative, what you need to do is spin the experience that you do have, highlight, I guess that's better, the qualities and attributes you do have to make them attractive to a law firm and to an attorney. So that's something that you'll talk about in that job strategy section in Essential Skills. All right, let's get to the nitty-gritty, registration. So the prerequisites for the program, you do need a high school diploma to enroll. Obviously, you can see based upon all of the slides we just went through about paralegal space, you need word processing and basic internet skills, a good internet connection, an email, I don't know who doesn't have an email address these days, but an email address, internet access, a system you're comfortable with, spending a lot of time on over, the 4 months of the ground program or the up to 1 year for the online program. Mozilla Firefox web browser is preferred. I tend to switch back and forth between Chrome and Firefox, but those are definitely the two that I like the best for accessing the site. Now, if you've not already done so, I would strongly encourage you to take the program test drive at utexasparalegal.com. You can click around on kind of a modified version of the site, take some practice exams, just sort of get a sense of, what you're in for in the paralegal program. All right, as far as your computer specs are concerned, I'm not going to read out every single bit in Intel and OS 10.5 to you. Your computer must meet or exceed these requirements. So certainly if you've gotten your system within the last couple of years or so, you should be perfectly fine as far as navigating the site and such are concerned. Program completion. So to successfully complete the program and earn a beautifully framed University of Texas at Austin Paralegal Certificate, which will be presented to you at a lovely graduation ceremony, you must complete the Essential Skills class plus 3 substantive courses. Now, in Essential Skills, it is broken down into 2 core components. So you must obtain a 70% or higher in the writing component of Essentials, and that includes, of course, all of your the writing assignments, summons and complaints, demand letter, etc., that you will submit over the course of the semester. And you will also take 3 exams over the course of the semester. So you will also need to obtain a 70% or higher in the exam component. Now, as far as your substantives are concerned, class participation counts for 25% of your grade in each substantive. Your writing assignment counts for 25% of your grade, and your exam will count for 50%. And for those as well, you need to obtain a 70% or higher in order to successfully complete each substantive. You also need to complete all class projects and library research. We have a nice law library day where we go over and do a little bit of a scavenger hunt, probably drive the law librarians crazy, but we are very lucky to have access to the University of Texas at Austin Law School Law Library, so you can all get comfortable poking through the stacks over there. The length of the program, the ground program, is 4 months, and the online program you'll have up to 1 year to complete. And I know that there's a slide coming up shortly in regard to the online program. Again, just a little bit more for program completion. You got to pass everything, your exams, and there is a comprehensive final at the end of Essential Skills. There's no substantive comprehensive final. And again, 70% on the substantives on the comprehensive final and in both components of Essential Skills to earn your certificate. All right, attendance, also a big deal. Attendance counts for 25% in each one of your substantive classes. As far as Essential Skills is concerned, if you miss more than 25% of your Essential Skills classes, which is, you have to make a pretty concerted effort to miss that many since you have Essential Skills for the entire semester. But if you miss more than 25% of Essential Skills, you will not pass Essential Skills. Really, if you are going to miss any of your classes, and again, things come up over the course of the semester, we understand that, but we do get into a huge amount of material over a short period of time. So not only are you running afoul of the attendance requirement, but you're also missing a good amount of material that you will need to successfully understand what you are learning. So we do have a very strict attendance policy. Of course, communication is key. Obviously, if there's a child care issue or you run into traffic or something like that, please communicate that to us. We're not, it's not a draconian policy, but certainly it is very important that you do come to class. Oops, I missed one. All right. Okay. All right. As far as payment options are concerned in regard to the ground evening program, University of Texas at Austin does accept employee tuition assistance program, and that's always wonderful if your employer wants to pay for the program for you. So certainly that's something you would want to take up with them. You may also get a promissory note. So students who pay a deposit of $27.7250 when registering may sign a promissory note agreeing to make additional payments within the following 2 months, and there's a one-time fee of $125. And we'll talk a little bit more about financing and such also when we get a couple slides in. And also, uh, again, I clearly just read you that slide. The money is not my area of expertise, so you know, we'll give Vina some audio if we get any financing questions, because that is definitely her area of expertise. So. I have been mentioning the online program quite a bit. So in addition to the ground program, and the ground program we have several times a year. So we have a summer semester that's coming up. I believe that's starting the first week in June. And then we have our fall semester, which starts in September, late August, early September. And right now we actually have 2 spring semesters that are going on, 2 spring in-class semesters, one that started in January and then another that started in March. So, you know, if summer isn't going to work for you, we're always around in the fall. A couple times a year you can take the program. But if the coming to campus isn't going to work for you, we always have an online program, which is absolutely wonderful for those students who can't commit to the in-class time frame. The online program is open entry and self-paced, so you can register whenever you want. Once you register and get all your financing ducks in a row, you will be welcomed to the program, assigned your paralegal space login, and you will be assigned an attorney instructor who will work with you. So during the course of the program, again, it's self-paced, so essentially you'll do the reading, you'll work through the study support. Any questions, you will send them to, reach out to your attorney instructor to ask the questions, and then you will just submit your assignments on the site. They will be graded and returned to you with comments by your instructor, and take the exams. So, you know, if you're good at pacing yourself, the online program is really a wonderful option, especially if you're not in the Austin area or you can't make that classroom commitment. You do have 1 year to complete the program, so you get a little bit extra time so you can fit it in to your life. But it really is a wonderful option if you can't get into the classroom. The online courses are available in both English and Spanish, and the tuition is $64.95 plus approximately $600 for books. The book price is the same for the campus classes as well. The Essential Skills books are a required purchase through the program, as they include technology fees for the website and Westlaw and Lexis. But your substantive books you can purchase anywhere you would like. Amazon, Barnes & Noble, you can get them new, used, you can rent them. That's a great option I know a lot of students are utilizing these days. Nook and Kindle editions. So the $600 is an approximation, but certainly you know, you can keep those book costs down by getting them in various different formats or versions. For the online paralegal program, you will take essential skills, just like the campus classes, and you will choose 2 electives, 2 of the 5 electives that are set out there. So there's a couple more options than in the ground program as far as online electives are concerned. Now again, we just talked about this a little bit. There are tons of advantages to the online program. Again, if you're not in the Austin area, if you're abroad, we have tons of students who aren't even in the country who are taking the program. You can, of course, utilize the website and work and study day or night and into the night. And again, you work at your own pace. You have a year to complete it. So, you know, we certainly don't recommend that you leave it all to the last month. But, you know, you can pace yourselves and certainly just work, you know, when it works within your schedule. Again, you'll be assigned an attorney instructor who, who you will have access to be able to ask questions and get feedback on your assignments. And you get the same beautiful paralegal certificate as the grad students in taking the online program. So it really is a wonderful option. And online education is so, this is going to sound weird, it's so big these days. But just over the past several years, online education has really taken off, just given people's lives are hectic. They're difficult. It's great, to further your education, but sometimes it's hard to get into the classroom. So it really is a wonderful option. All right, now we're going to talk about payment again. Again, not my area of expertise, but for the online program, you can pay in full. Everyone always loves to pay in full for the ground program too. Well, I mean, UT loves when we pay in full. Or you can pay in installments, fill in the registration form and a promissory note, make a down payment, and then pay in 2 additional installments. So it's pretty similar to the promissory note for the ground program. The same program completion requirements for online. Do all of the projects, assignments, exams required of you, and achieve at least a 70% cumulative or higher on the substantives, essential skills, both components, exams and assignments, as well as your essentials comprehensive exam. So 70, that's the hot button number, 70%. And then we have even more programs for you. We have paralegal specialist certificate programs. Now these are for students who already have some sort of legal baseline, whether it be a paralegal certificate already or something you may consider taking after taking the paralegal certificate program at UT. If you've been working as a paralegal for a while, if you have a certificate or degree in paralegal studies, the certificates, the specialist certificates are really hone in on particular areas of law, and you can see there's a breakdown of some of them here. But we have about 23 or so different areas of law, so from criminal to entertainment to intellectual property to bankruptcy, you name it, there's probably a specialist certificate for it. The specialist certificates are structured just like the online program, so they are all done completely online, open entry, self-paced. You will be assigned an attorney instructor. For each, you will take 2 required courses as well as 1 or 2 electives, depending upon the specialist that you are taking. And you will take, for each one of the classes within the specialist, you will prepare 2 writing assignments and take 1 exam. And then same, that hot button number of 70 is your threshold for passing. But certainly the specialists are absolutely wonderful if, say, you've taken the paralegal certificate program and you have your certificate, but you find yourself working, at an immigration law firm. And immigration law, of course, isn't a substantive, isn't an area of law that that we focused on in the certificate program. So in that instance, the immigration law specialist may be right up your alley. 6 months to complete the specialist courses, and tuition is $19.95 plus books. Okay, for more information, if you want to know more about the classroom program, please reach out to Alexandra Gilmore, Program Coordinator, and you can see her contact information right there on the screen. For information about the online program, poor Vina, who I have kept muted this whole time, Program Coordinator for online, and Vina's information is right there for you. And then me, Program Advisor, and there is my my information for you. So please do feel free we're gonna, questions are popping up. I see you. So we're almost at the end here, so please do feel free to type any questions you may have into the question box. But sometimes the most important question is the one you remember to ask after we've logged off for the evening. So please do feel free to reach out to us if that should happen. Now I know that there's about 1 or 2 more slides here. I'm going to come back to this one though, so this is kind of the last one we see. So for anyone who wants to take down our contact information, it is there for you. But to view upcoming programs, please visit our website, ed.utexas.edu, so you can get all the information you want about CPE programs. For more information about the paralegal program, please go to utexasparalegal.com, and that's where you can certainly get, you can take the test drive and get all sorts of information about the program. And then please do contact Corporate and Government Learning Solutions at CPE Solutions at austin.utexas.edu for information regarding on-site training, consulting, and/or professional coaching for your organization. So lots going on at University of Texas. It's great there. All right, here we are. We're at the end now, so I've come back to our contact slide. So as far as the upcoming classes are concerned, the summer class does start, I believe, on June 7th. I'm not, Vina, you're up, Vina. I'm gonna turn you back on now. I'm not sure if you're gonna have the answer to this because it is more up Zandra's alley in the classroom program. But as far as the fall semester dates are concerned, do we have dates written in stone yet? I know they generally start, as far as registration is concerned. Vina, do you know when registrations are starting, are going to be offered for the fall program, or is that something we should send Zandra's way?
Yes, I'm not sure if the fall registrations are open yet. I think Zandra will be able to answer that question. I don't think it's up on the website yet. So if they have questions about the classroom fall registration, they can email Zandra or me, and we can have that sent via email.
Yes, so please do reach out to Alexandra Gilmore, and you can see her email address right here. And again, yeah, we're talking about summer right now, and Alexandra and I have been talking about summer for the last couple of days, but she and I haven't talked about fall yet. I know that we have dates in mind. I'm just not sure if they're set in stone yet, and so then as far as registration is concerned, I'm not sure, but please do reach out to Zandra and she'll be able to assist you. Oh, Vina, this one's for you. Any other option for financing for online with payments, or must you have the $2,000 before getting started?
Yes, when you register, your registration is not complete until you make the payment, the down payment. So you need to have the 30% of the registration fee plus the $125, the deferment or the installment fee. So we need to have this down payment at the time of registration. Now the next payment will be due the following month, the first installment, and you can pick the date when you want to pay the next installment, but that will be following month, and then the second installment will be the month after that, and you can pick the date too. So there is no other option, unfortunately. So the 30% is the least I think we can go on the down payment.
Okay, any other questions? We'll give you guys a chance to type those questions in. I know that the typing isn't best case scenario, but I can't tell you how many webinars I have spent listening to dogs bark and babies cry in the background. So any scholarships available, Vina? And maybe you want to talk about a little bit how it's continuing education and such, as far as
yes,
as far as any kind of financial aid or things like that. Just
yes, because our course, because we are continuing education unit, we are not academics. Our courses are non-college credit, so we are not eligible for financial aid like FAFSA or any other federal aid. We do not even have a system in place to process FAFSA or any other financial aid. So the only option is to either get private loans. I know some banks do offer private loans for education. I think one or two students have gotten private loans from banks. Or the second option is installments. We do not offer any scholarships because we are UT Austin, but we are not tied to the main finance office, and we offer non-credit college courses, so there's no scholarship or anything like that. So these are the only two options. Either you pay by installment with the promissory note, or I know that some banks do offer private loans, but other than that, I do not think there is any other option. I'm sorry.
Or Your employer. Hopefully your employer can pay. And that segues nice into our next question. Vina, also for you. If my company pays after completion, would that count, or do I need to pay the 30% upfront?
The 30% upfront is very much essential. Even if a company pays 30% down is needs to be paid to confirm registration, and also we can work with the company on the installments. So 30% down is a must to begin the program. Yes.
Also, any discount for UT staff members?
No, I don't think there is any discount for UT staff members for this program. I also wanted to mention that our classroom program is approved for workforce by the Workforce Commission. So if anybody is going to that, it is approved by the Texas workforce.
Okay, anybody else? Any other questions? Okay, you're welcome. Okay, if there are no other questions, I guess I'll slowly start to call it a night. Again, please do feel free to reach out to any one of us with any lingering or follow-up questions you may have. Of course, any registration or financing questions for online paralegal programs should go to Vina, and here's her contact information again. Any financing or registration questions regarding the classroom program, please send them Zandra's way, and there's her contact information. And if you have any questions about materials or the site or what you'll learn or the law, please do feel free to send them my way. I think education is a wonderful thing. The law is a wonderful thing, and we hope to see your names on rosters and faces in classrooms or names online as we move forward with the University of Texas at Austin Paralegal Program. So if there are no further questions, Vina, I'm going to thank you so much for helping this evening and for being here this evening. And I'm going to thank all of you, the participants, for being here. We appreciate your time. We appreciate your interest. And, again, hope to hear from you soon. So thank you very much, everyone, and have a wonderful evening. All right. Good night.
Thank you. Thank you all. Bye.
Bye.